Veah, the woman who walked away from noise to find peace. She didn't vanish. She simply chose silence, and in doing so, chose herself. Welcome back to 90 Day Fiancé, latest news, where drama, love, heartbreak, and healing are often tangled in one chaotic thread. But today's story isn't chaos. It's calm. It's about a woman who once lived loud until the silence called her home. Tornado, the reality tornado. Before the cameras, she had already lived more than one life. On screen, Veah burned bright. She wasn't just a cast member. She was a force. The woman who cried too hard, forgave too easily, and loved like it might save her. A walking contradiction. A raw soul wrapped in eyeliner and emotional armor. Twitter threads argued about her. Memes joked. Fans speculated. Critics rolled their eyes. But behind every opinion, behind every viral moment, was a woman just trying to make it through, in public, in real time. And then she left, not in scandal, not in another spinoff. She didn't fade away, she stepped away. Waxing crescent moon, the exit no one saw coming. After her final episode aired, she disappeared. No tell-all interviews. No Instagram statements. Just silence. She began to rebuild far from the cameras. Alone, quietly, beautifully, she packed boxes in the middle of the night. Cried in the mornings, stared into mirrors, asking herself who she really was when no one was watching. She read poetry aloud to no one but herself. She let the mascara sit unused, let her curls roam wild. She bought flour, learned to bake, and let healing be slow. In a tiny guest house behind an old adobe home in Taos, New Mexico, Veah learned to listen to her own breath again. She worked at a holistic bookstore, befriended the desert stars, and relearned the stillness she once thought was punishment. Herb, and then came David. It wasn't a grand meeting. No candlelit sparks. No romantic soundtrack. They crossed paths at a retreat built for grief and recovery, run by a retired hospice nurse and an ex-midwife inside a circular wooden lodge. She was mourning an identity. He was mourning a mother. Their first conversation? Bees. She feared for them. He once got stung in the mouth drinking juice as a kid. It wasn't love at first sight. It wasn't anything the world would recognize as newsworthy. But it was real. They became quiet partners. Walks turned into talks. Talks turned into trust. And trust turned into peace. She told him about the show one night, expecting him to flinch. He didn't. He just asked her, "Do you like the person you are now?" That was when she knew. Sparkles of love worth keeping quiet. No ring selfies. No influencer deals. No magazine exclusives. One morning, over cinnamon coffee and scrambled eggs, they decided to keep choosing each other. Every day. No big promises. Just daily ones. Under the cottonwood trees by a quiet creek, they got married. She wore a vintage dress she found in a thrift shop. He wore wrinkled linen and a sunburn. One dog barked during the vows. That was it. And it was everything. She let herself be still, a legacy in silence. She let the child cry through hers. Not because she didn't care, but because some cries are meant to echo through generations. She had no script, no manual. He had forgotten his own. But they danced anyway, barefoot, on warm tiles and cold grass and time-worn hardwood. There was lemonade on their lips, and laughter that stole their breath, until it stole their voices too. Then came Tuesday. The baby came quietly, not with panic, but with power. She found him brushing his teeth. She didn't sob. She didn't shout. She handed him the test, 2 lines deep, and let the silence say everything. His tears came before hers. Hers would come later, when the night was quiet and her belly was full of a new promise. She whispered to the child growing inside, "We won't perform for them. Our lives will be ours. No grand announcements. No curated moments. No filters. Every kick unshared. Every ultrasound etched in her soul, not the screen." They hummed lullabies into the dark. They scribbled baby names on the backs of old receipts. They clung to each other through fear, through the trembling what-ifs and the sacred small joys. No one else ever noticed. And then, one golden hour evening, the beach held them. She in a cotton dress that no longer fit, he with oranges in a paper bag, and some passerby, tourist maybe local, caught a moment in time. She barefoot, hands around her belly, he behind her, his lips pressed to her forehead, her eyes closed not from the light, but from the weight of contentment. That photo broke free, and this time the world saw her, not the mess they had once picked apart, not the shattered woman, but the woman who rebuilt herself in silence. She had no interest in the leak, no need to explain, no thirst for redemption. She wasn't waiting to be chosen. She had chosen herself, and in doing so, she found everything: sand, stillness, family, sanctuary, love. This wasn't a comeback. This was her legacy. Quiet, deliberate, sacred. The heart heals away from the noise. And love, the real kind, grows best when no one is watching. Veah Netherton.